Good morning. Well, I'll approach this from a linguistic perspective because I am a language and linguistic expert. First of all, we need to understand when we talk about language, what is a language? A language basically is a system of communication where sounds, signs convey some information or ideas. And from that understanding, we'll know that we use language to inform, to express ideas, to direct, to express our emotions, and etc. So when we use language, we have a process. That is the communication process. And I use this purposely, this diagram, to explain the importance of communication. So this diagram, I hope it's clear, begins from the sender. When you have a message to pass or when you're writing information, your intention is that the receiver will be able to understand it and give feedback. But in between, there are barriers. So from the sender, we have the message. You have the channel of communication, which could be written or verbal or sign language, and then it gets to the receiver. So from the receiver, he's supposed to decode that information, interpret it, understand it, and probably give information. But if the receiver is not able to interpret that information, then all you've done in between is to make noise. So in court proceedings or judgments, writing is a form of communication. And the intention is that the receiver of that judgment is able to understand or get the ruling of the judgment. So effectiveness can only be achieved when the receiver is able to decode that information. So any factor that reduces that efficiency to understand that message would be a barrier and would be regarded as noise. So when we use the legal jargon, the question is the intention meant to have the receiver of that information to understand what is going on? If the intention is to have the receiver interpret that information, then why this complex language? Because in most cases, documents are written in grammar that is not conventional. Conventional in that, I mean, what people have gone to school and studied English, of course I'm referring to English, the language they use, the structure of the sentence, you'll find that the writing has been altered. There is a circumlocution of expressions, that is, you say more than what is necessary to be said, and at the end of it, people are confused. They do not get to understand what exactly is being said. So we have the use of Latin words. We have, so all that people do is wait for the end of the ruling just to be told this is what has happened. So is that the intention of the people in the legal profession? Do you intend to have your clients understand what the proceedings are about? Or the intention is to give the end result? So if communication has to happen, then the language must be understood. The clients have to be able to interpret what has been going on and understand why they end up in where they end up. So what is the way forward? So what I have is not solutions, but questions. Because the argument has been that literature in the legal profession is written in the legal language, legal jargon. So do we start from changing the literature? All Do we change the training approaches that we use so that the people in the legal profession have consideration for the common mwananchi who does not understand the language? Do we change the approaches we use in teaching language so that the common mwananchi is able to understand the legal language? Should we make it part of a course that they need to do to understand all this? Should we translate the law to a language that everyone is able to understand, including vernacular? Should we always use interpreters? And then the question is, if we use interpreters, what is the validity of the interpretation that they are going to make? So before we get those questions answered, all that we'll be doing will be lying low and asking questions. And that's why in the social media you'll see people making fun of the legal jargon that is used. I don't know if this made sense, but I came across this in the social media. So this is something that we need to look at, and if we should have everyone on board with what happens in the courtroom and even what happens outside there as far as law is concerned, then we need to do something about language in law. Thank you.